Hey guys, let's talk about the situation when we are finding ourselves as single parents and wanting to date and wanting to build relationships. The number one most important factor that I find in our coaching to help people in this situation is to be able to make peace of the past and to really get the structure right as far as going forward is concerned with what's come before that new person. Meaning, how many times have you opened your heart and let love in and been in love and then perhaps been hurt? And also, have there been losses? Are you a widow? Are you experiencing strife with an ex? How much closure have you gotten with that ex? So these are all very important things to look at when going into a new dynamic there. And the majority of people that I work with unfortunately have very murky pasts and have not gotten the closure as well as they could have gotten. And what I mean by that is it's very important for the heart in being able to be open again to a new relationship, and never mind the dynamics with yourself perhaps and children as well, but it's the dynamic of being able to fully accept and respect the people that have come before this new relationship. And even if your ex is a complete ass, and let's say that's the father of the children, it's so critically important to be able to get to a point of acceptance and respect for that person as the father. In other words, the person who contributed to bringing your children into this world. Not to condone the behavior, not to let down your boundaries or parental plans or agreements or whatever, but the more a child can see that you respect the other parent, the more I believe that child will feel safe. Children have a hidden loyalty towards both parents. I'm sure you can relate to this as a person as well, to your parents. Doesn't matter what they were doing so much, but your dad was your dad and your mom was your mom, you know. And if they had strife and stress, it must have been really difficult to know which parent to follow. And normally what happens in any sort of dysfunctional or high conflict sort of family setup there is you will obviously go towards one of the parents more than the other. But still within your heart, you still have a longing and a need to connect with that other parent still somehow too. So if that mom or that dad is very disrespectful or very hurt by the other parent, can you imagine the strife in that little child's heart? So healing, moving forward into new relationships, requires one to get to that point of being able to find that respect again. And we do that by honoring a few very simple facts, and that is that at some point you guys did share a love experience, however long that lasted for, and created this child together. And the more that that moment and that experience can be honored, in other words, the good that was between the two of you, then the better going forward. And a lovely exercise I always love doing is being able to really keep asking ourselves, what is the opposite to what we're experiencing? In other words, if we looked at an alternative narrative to that relationship of the ex or the lost person or whatever. And I did this when I lost my wife, is I sat down and I wrote down everything that was really horrible about her leaving and realized how much pain and hurt that was causing me, absolutely. But at the same time, what I had to realize also that in her loss there was a gain, right? And it's this principle of the polarities, of the yin and the yang, the good and the bad, is you have to sit down with pen and paper and go and find where it is that the loss of this person or your ex being an ass or whatever relationship dynamic is unhappy for you, you have to sit and start to get your brain around the idea that however that person is being, they are benefiting you somehow, and you have to get your brain to start to think in that way. Otherwise you'll always be the victim of that person's perpetration against you, and it locks you guys into a dynamic that's very high in conflict, abuse potentially, and trauma, and will prevent you from fully embracing the new person. And this is my point. If you want to open that heart and get fully present with the new person, this work has to be done. And so you sit there with your pen and your paper, and you write and you write and you write down everything that is of benefit to you, what you've gained, what you've learned, skills you've developed since this person has done this harm to you, or since this person has died. What is it that is good? Where is the lesson, right? And you have to keep writing and putting pen to paper until you can really sort of make a shift in your mind around how you perceive that person. And that's very, very important. And so when you make that shift, what happens is you start to not condone again or allow that person to keep abusing you. But what happens is you start to integrate that experience into your heart. And the minute that your heart has that person inside of it and not outside with hate or resentment or irritation or frustration, but once it's inside your heart, an amazing and magical thing happens. Your heart, therefore, is then again available to love another person. Otherwise, think about it. If your heart is full of that pain still, you can't help but project it onto the new person. And particularly in a single mom or single dad environment where you've got kids as well, if you're not clear on those past relationships, it cannot but interfere or flood into the new dynamic, because you'll have fear. I lived in fear for a long time after my late wife died of cancer, like subconsciously thinking, is this new person going to get sick? Are they healthy? Do they take supplements? Have they done their blood tests, right? To protect myself, because I wasn't going to put myself in that situation again. So we get defensive, and the more we get defensive, we actually then are also attracting people into our lives who will challenge that wall that we've put up, and ultimately they're not the right person for us. Do you see that? You have to get into that place where the more you can accept your past relationships and allow them to have been there, the more available you are, therefore, also to yourself. You're more emotionally available to yourself, because now you've done work on that, so you've been able to access feelings that have perhaps been blocked. You clear those out, almost like taking the dirty washing out and putting in a washing machine. So now the basket's full, and it's open, and it's available for more to come in. And that's really the place that we want to get to. And it's work, guys. It's really difficult. But if you are looking to embrace a new relationship, or you're struggling, particularly those who struggle in dating, on dating apps, etc., etc., if you're struggling to meet that person, I can almost guarantee it's got everything to do with the fact that you have not allowed your heart to open to those previous experiences, those previous relationships. And until you do, you will keep meeting the wrong kind of guy or girl. Okay, so that's some of the work that you have to be doing. It's about just maybe making a list of all the different experiences, the relationships that you've had where you've been in love, or people that you've lost, and go and start to ask that question like I shared earlier about, how did that experience benefit me for each one of those people? And keep writing and writing and writing until you literally start to feel almost like a gratitude for that person for being such a big ass. It's like, hey man, keep being an ass, because when you're an ass, I actually get so much from you, and I appreciate that then. But you know, when you are an ass, I'll keep my safe boundaries, obviously, and make sure that you don't hurt me, but I learn from it. So therefore I don't have resistance to it. If I don't have resistance to it, then psychically I'm not actually attached to you, or fearing you, or worrying about you, or angry with you, therefore actually attracting you continually into my life. I am at peace with you. So it's not about me being right or you being right, or tit for tat, but it's about finding that peace inside, and that can only happen if you open your heart to your previous experiences. Okay, so there's a lot of work available there for you to do with regards to this opening of your heart. And if there's any assistance you need in that, give me a shout. You can also check out my book, Unbound. The whole principle of being unbound is to go from a bound heart into an unbound space. You can check it out in the book. And then I also wrote the book on all the healing stories that will open your heart, and that's got to do with clients of mine who have been through these experiences, who have had now their hearts opened. You can check that book out also if you want. But otherwise, please leave a message if you need help. This is where I'm at. and I'll be happy to get on a call with you and see what we can do. So open your hearts and invite new love into your life, and I wish you all the best, and take care. Ciao.